Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video we are going to create this marquee style ring. So let's get started. I'm going to start with our finger size as usual. So grabbing a circle, I'm going to be boring and stick with a size L, which has a diameter of 16.1 millimeters. And as I've done that, I think I've misclicked, so I'm coming across to my box edit just to check my size here. I can see that I've typed in 16 instead of 16.1. So let me try that again, 16.1. And again, double checking that we do have the correct finger size. Now the depth of the shank is going to be 1.8 millimeters finished, and I'm adding 0.15 millimeters to allow for casting and cleanup. So let's offset this, 1.95 millimeters. The next thing I need is a marquee gem, and I've got that keyed to my F8 pop-up menu. I'm going to select the marquee gem, and now I'm going to size this up. So I want the size to be a fairly generic size, a 10 by 5. I'm going to come again to my box edit. I'm going to select the uniform command, change the y-axis to 5. That's going to scale, that was the x-axis to 5, and that's going to scale up the y-axis to the correct length, which is 10 millimeters. The depth of the stone has also changed to be an appropriate depth. I'm lifting this up above the finger rail, and I want this to be at least 0.5 millimeters clearance between the finger rail and the culé of the gem. So again, I can offset this 0.5 millimeters just to get a visual idea of how high this is sitting. The next thing I'm going to do is create an under bezel for the gem to sit in. So I'm going to start with an arc. I'm going to go for the second one along here. That's going to give me a start, an end point, and then a point on the arc, and I'm just going to snap to the edge of the marquee here. Now I can mirror this across the y-axis, select the mirrored curve, and I can join those together. And looking up the top there, you can see we've got one closed curve. Excellent. So let me move this up into position. Now I'm going to grab my line command. Just going to draw a bit of an angled under basket. So something like this. I'm going to hold down Alt as I press the red arrow. And I want to go for -1. So -1, so it's traveling against the direction of the arrow. Let me grab the polyline command again, holding Shift to constrain this to a horizontal orientation, and then just snapping somewhere so this inside curve here is kind of parallel with the pavilion of the gem. I can select all of these curves here, and I can just trim off that excess curve. Join all of those together, and then do another line at the base here. And again, join all of those together. Now I can do a sweep one with the profile. And when I select this, you can see they've got one closed poly surface. So again, this is important that we are working with closed poly surfaces at this point. Now I'm going to trim off the base of this. Let me change the layer. And I'm going to use the wire cut command. So having the under bezel selected while I did that has taken me straight to the select cutting curves, and that's going to be our finger rail here. Right click and delete the excess. This is going to be a split layer, so I want to offset the finger rail 1 millimeter, and then I want to draw a line both sides, and then I want to drop this down 1 millimeter. So now I can wire cut with this curve here. Do the same with our offset finger size and delete away that center part. So that is our under bezel that we've just created. You can see we've got a nice bevel on the inside, and our marquee gem is going to sit in there quite nicely. The next thing we want to do is start creating the claws. We've got 2 claws, one at the top and one at the bottom. They're going to be L-shaped claws or corner claws. I'm going to come to my top viewport, and I'm going to start by drawing out a box or a rectangle. Now I can choose the center command there. There's a hold down shift that's going to constrain that to a square. But what I want is a dimension of 1.5. And then if I press enter, it's going to give me the same width as it is the length. Now I want to rotate this 45 degrees. And I also want to move this so it's centered along this green line here, this Y axis. So grabbing our move command, I'm just going to take it from this point here. And to be safe, I'm going to move that to the world origin or 0. Then I can just bring this up into position. Now I want to create a duplicate. So let me copy this. I'm going to snap. I've got my mid snap point here enabled. So I can snap from halfway of this line here. And if I hold down shift, I'm going to snap to the bottom part. So now I've got these 2 diamond shapes. With both of those selected, I can trim away the bottom parts, and then I can join those together into one closed curve. Excellent. So we've got our shape here. Let me come to the perspective viewport. I now want to extrude curve. And I don't need both sides. It doesn't really matter at this point here. I definitely want solid to equal yes. I'll turn off both sides. I'm just going to stretch that up, something like that. And then I can come and sort of move this into place. I might want to change my viewport here. I want to rotate this. And I can also scale this. You can see our gumball is aligned with the shape. So I can scale it in this way quite easily. And let's have a look. I want the gem to bite into the claw slightly. Let me delete this top face. You can see how much overlap I've got. I'm quite happy with that overlap. We bring that face back. What I want to do is add a slight taper to the claw. So I've held down Control Shift and I've sub-selected this face here. And as long as our gumball is aligned to the center of this, then I can hold down Shift and scale in the base of that claw. Again, I can just move this to make that the way that I want that to fit. And I am quite happy with that position there. Again, I'm just deleting that top face just to make sure I've got enough of an overlap. Let me change the layer. And now I want to come to my front viewport and I am going to wire cut with our finger size and delete away that excess. I need one on the other side, so I'm going to mirror across the x-axis. And now we have our gem with our setting in place.